Diego from NutriAdmin, and in this video I'm gonna show you what are the different ways in which clients can fill in questionnaires and whether clients can go back and edit or amend a previously filled out questionnaire, and whether you can go back and forth with a client and you can fill in a form together. So what are the different options for this? So first of all, in NutriAdmin, if you go to this section, you can review the questionnaires that you have. So in my case, for instance, I have this questionnaire, which is a 5-food diary. And if I click on view, this is how it will look like for the client. So now, if I wanted the client to fill in this questionnaire, which is a 3-day food diary, then I can go here and click send a questionnaire. I can choose a client and I can choose my questionnaire, 5-day, preview email. So this is the email that the client will receive with a button to click. And now we have two options. So if you send the questionnaire as a direct link, what will happen is that the client will get a link, and when they click in this button in their email, they will go to a page like this. So now if you notice, this is a page that has a bunch of codes in the URL. This uniquely identify this questionnaire and this client. And essentially there is no password here. So anybody with this link can access this website. So now this is still secure because this is an empty form that has no private data. And when you send the client a direct link like this, the client must complete this form in one go. So they don't have any way to edit it or to save progress. And that's for security reasons, because as I mentioned, anybody with this link can see the website is public. So if you choose this option to send as a direct link, this is good if you want to send a quick questionnaire that people can fill in 20 minutes or less. And this way they don't have to log in, they don't need a password. It's the quickest way, and you have the caveat that they have to fill it up in one go. On the other hand, if you want the client to be able to save their progress, you can use this other option, send via the client portal. So I'm going to choose this now. And when you send it via the client portal, the client will get an email and they have to log into their client portal. So this is what the client will see. They'll have to enter their credentials. And the first time they have to log in, they will have to also verify their phone number. And once they log in, this is a secure portal. It's password protected, so the only person that can log in here is the client. And since this is password protected, the client can then edit the questionnaire. And in this case, it's the same interface as before, but they now have a save progress button. So if I type in my name in here and I save my progress, the changes are saved. Now if I refresh the page, so I am reloading the page, the changes are still in here. So this is a good option if you want the client to be able to edit the questionnaire, and they'll be able to, as you see, this is good for things like a food diary, for example, because this way the client can log in every time they have a meal and they can type in what they ate and they don't have to fill it all up in one go. So now what if you want to edit this alongside with the client? Well, unfortunately, you will not be able to see this interface, the filling questionnaire, until the client submits it by pressing this button. But the thing is that when the client submits the questionnaire, they will not be able to go back to change their answers. And the reason for that is that because once the client submits the questionnaire will be available to you in here as well, in the client record. And if the questionnaire is available here, and the client also has access to it, there is the risk that both of you will try to edit it simultaneously. And if that happens, there could be, maybe one of you would be overwriting the data from the other. So for that reason, we don't allow two people to edit the same questionnaire simultaneously at the moment. But so that's a limitation, but there are some workarounds. So one way in which you could collaborate is the client can fill this in, and if you are in person with the client, you can do this together in here. So the client can show you their screen and you can do it together. Another option is if you're comfortable sharing credentials with the client could give you access to their client portal account, and you could access it and see it. But that would be only possible. It's not recommended because it's not good to share passwords. Then another option would be if you do a online consultation and you use something like Zoom or some platform to share to do video conferencing, the client could share their screen and you could see the progress and you could talk to them and edit this form in here together. So maybe I filled in these details and now I am a client and I have a consultation with my practitioner, and I share my screen and I can make some amends in here before it's finished. So those are different options. Another fourth option would be you could instruct the client to press Control P if they're using Windows, or Command P if they're using Mac, or they can go to File and choose the option to print. And if they do that, they get a printout of the form, as you can see here, and this can be downloaded as a PDF. So you could instruct the client to do this and to send you a PDF of what they completed so far, and that can allow you as a nutritionist or practitioner to see their progress so far. So those are some of the different options. And finally, if you want to resend the same questionnaire to a client, so let's imagine I'm going to submit this questionnaire now, just to show you. So you see, when you submit to the client, when they go back to questionnaires, they say they no longer have any questionnaires. They have been, this is also by design, designed this way so that the client, because you don't always want the client to go back and edit their questions, because for instance, perhaps you receive the questionnaire and you're preparing your work, and then if the client goes back and changes the data without you being aware of it, they could corrupt the data, or they could enter some data that contradicts previous information. So, and you wouldn't be aware of it. So this way, it avoids confusion. The client can only fill in data explicitly when you send them a particular questionnaire, and whatever information, you always keep the historical record of everything that was entered. But now, okay, what if I want this client to be able to fill in another food diary, or maybe this food diary had an error and it needs to be corrected? So there are two options here. So what you can do is, if you go to the client record and you check the status tab, this shows me that this client has filled in a 5-day food diary on this particular date. So now, if I try to send the questionnaire again, what will happen is that this will tell me the questionnaire was already returned. So if I want to send it again, resend it, this will delete all the data that was there and the questionnaire. So the client will get a blank questionnaire. So you have to be careful with that. This is good if you just want a completely blank slate, the client to refill the same questionnaire. But then what if you have this 5-day food diary and then you want a second copy of the 5-day food diary and you want to keep both? Well, we have an option for that. What you can do is to go to the questionnaires and notes section, and here's my 5-day food diary, and what I can do is to click on actions and duplicate the questionnaire. So this will create a copy, and maybe I can call this one 5-day food diary second week or something like that. Duplicate. And now I have a duplicate, and if I click on view questionnaire, it's exactly the same, but it is stored as a physical separate questionnaire. So what I can do now is I can send the questionnaire to the client, and instead of resetting this one and losing my changes, I can just send them the second copy, either as a direct link or via the portal. So I've chosen to send via the portal. And now if I go back to my previous window, this is what the client sees. When the client refreshes the page, now there should be a new questionnaire available. And the client can now click, it's called second week this time, they can edit it, and they have another form. So if they fill in this one and save progress and submit, now you have both versions. So you can see in here that if I refresh my page, I can check questionnaires, and there is 5-day food diary. So this is the one I filled in initially, and there is the second one. So you can keep them both historically. You can amend and edit changes previously filled, and you can keep. There's no limit. You could have, for example, if you follow up with clients every week, You could duplicate the questionnaire multiple times and have week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, up to how many you need. And then this way you can check them all historically. If you notice, they store the fields, store the date in which they were modified. So you can keep that for your reference. And you can even go to the report section and create a report with a particular questionnaire that was filled in, excluding other questionnaires. So there are many ways in which you can slice and dice this data and keep it all stored safely, and just you can segment the data in whichever way makes sense for you. So hopefully this helps and this answers the question. So as you can see, there's a lot of flexibility and you can manage this data in many different ways, but there are also some limitations due to security and for privacy concerns. So hopefully this helps. Thanks for watching, and feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. Thank you.